Good morning, and welcome back to Cold Waters. I'm Captain.
Sonar, Sierra 3 is cavitating.
I'm Captain Interrupted, and here's me boat. Let's switch back to the map, shall we? Okay. Well, we have an interesting scenario today, but the reason for the interesting scenario is we're going to experiment. I'm going to experiment with
Peak depth 150 feet, dive by.
with evading torpedoes, and I suppose the art of not being where you were expected to be. I suppose being at the wrong place at the right time. I don't know how you want to phrase this. So around us, we should have a Soviet-era cruise missile submarine and a Soviet-era escort. No, I'm suspecting Sierra 1. Yep, that's my Charlie 2.
Sonar, Sierra 1 is classified as submerged
So
submarine.
Sierra 2 should be my Victor 3.
Sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
And Sierra 3 is a surface contact of some description, probably a trawler. We are between Iceland and Greenland right now. We're in that, we're actually just, looks like on the northern side of the deeper section. Zoom out in a second. Let's identify what this thing is first.
Dive at 150 feet, dive by.
Sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as merchant.
Can't zoom out much more, but the deeper section is right in front of us, and we're in a Trafalgar class. That's important for a couple of reasons. One, it has a 2,000-foot test depth, and we can dive deeper than the two Russian boats. And the secondly is, it's been a while, I've used Swiftsure a lot, figured I'd use the Trafalgar. Trafalgar is a very quiet submarine. Okay, let's take another look at where we're at and where the bad guys are. And on the face of it, that would appear that we're not that far away from this Victor 3. 6,000 yards. The Charlie 2 is probably about the same, so let's take a quick look at the acoustics. Okay, the Victor 3, he's moving slowly, but he cannot hear me. Actively he would, but passively he's not getting anything from me. What's his depth? His depth is about maybe 400 feet, maybe. Let's take a quick look at the Charlie 2. Yeah, again, he can't hear me. Now, I'm not running in ultra quiet on purpose, but when you use ultra quiet mode, you reduce the noise that your boat makes. So it's Shift S. I actually want to maybe not turn so much. I want to head more like south.
Come right to 179 Helm I.
When you use Shift S, it reduces the noise coming from the boat. So I'm going to do this now.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
And at the bottom right, we lost 5 or 6 decibels from our passive noise. But right now, his passive sensors that aren't really pointing towards me, he's receiving minus 11 decibels. He's not going to hear me. His towed array is minus 7. Again, he's not going to hear me. You need to, for the first detection, you need to be 10 or higher. You can be tracked at, I think it's 1 to 9 or 1 to 10. But right now, no, he's not going to hear me. And he is traveling at 5 knots, so he's traveling slow. He's got his best chance of hearing me, and he's got nothing. This Charlie 2, minus 12 decibels, so he's not got a chance of hearing me either. He doesn't have a towed array. Now, that's great, but in terms of weapons, well, I've got nothing loaded into my main torpedo tubes.
Helm, steady course.
What are we carrying? Well, this scenario is set in 1984, so we don't have spearfish. That's a shame, because spearfish, we like spearfish. Now, we do have just normal heavy tigerfish. They are actually the later variant. I could go back in and reduce their abilities per the earlier tigerfish, but I didn't, and it's not going to matter that much. But I've got 5 of those in total, one of which is loaded in the vertical launch system. The other 4 are waiting to be loaded. 4 harpoons. They shouldn't be useful today, but you never know. In fact, let's check the depth. So F5. Charlie 2 is... Let's actually do this. Maybe 300 feet. And the Victor 3, he is about 250. And then the merchant's on the surface, so I'm not going to worry about him. Although if it's Russian, I suppose I could harpoon it. Let's go back to my my Victor 3. He's about to present his baffles to me, potentially, which means I'm going to be in that little noise, no sound cone at the back. Not yet. Anyway, weapons. So, tigerfish, harpoons, and the fictional sea lance. The sea lance is a standoff weapon. It's perfect, potentially perfect for this kind of scenario. But there's a very specific use for the sea lance, and I'm probably going to have the chance to use this in a little bit. So I've got 4 of those. I've got 4 tigerfish. I'm going to use a tigerfish. So I'm going to load a tigerfish here, and just because I can, I'm going to load a sea lance into the opposite tube on the other side. In fact, while we're here, let's do a second tigerfish. I'll leave tube number 4 empty. Now we're going to be making a bit more noise, but he's not able to hear me. Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accelerate time. I'm going to focus on the Victor 3 because his towed arrow's got the best acoustic from me, and just accelerate time here. Now when you load weapons...
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
You cannot load weapons.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
Your machinery and your...
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
Your machinery and your crew make the noise. That means that you can't run ultra quiet. You also can't repair your boat. It's very unlikely that I'll ever damage anything, but just to be aware of it. Okay, well, I'm not likely to sneak up on these guys particularly easily like this. I mean, I can, and I will. To be fair, actually, I can sneak up on them. I'm behind them. What I want to do today is demonstrate how to evade their torpedoes. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to fire upon them, and they're going to detect it, and they're going to counterfire. And when they do, in fact, let's take a look at this merchant first. It is a Russian boat, and it looks like he's carrying weapons. It looks like he's sinking. So if he takes a torpedo, I'm not going to get too upset about it, but that's not my plan. If this were a Norwegian or a British merchant, I wouldn't really want to be sinking it. Switch back to here. So I'm going to fire a torpedo at these guys, and then I'm going to try and evade their counterfire. Now, evading is going to be a case of they're going to fire at me. The Charlie 3 most definitely has wire-guided torpedoes. What about the Charlie? Sorry, the Victor 3. Charlie 2 does not. Yes, but he does have standoff weapons, but he doesn't have wire-guided torpedoes. So he's going to fire at me, and those torpedoes are going to go to wherever he's told them to. They're going to look for me, and they're not going to find me, hopefully, and that'll be it. That's perfect. Victor 3, his USET 80s, he is able to guide them to my location, and he's going to keep that location updated. In fact, these Test 71s have got wires too. And he's got standoff missiles. Yeah, that's bad. So I can standoff weapon against him, and he can do the same back. And he may well send multiple back in my direction. If he's worth his salt as a captain, he will. But when I fire, I'm going to detect the launch. I only have 5 torpedoes here, so I've really got to make them count. But I'm going to go ahead and launch. It doesn't matter which one I launch. I'm actually going to launch the one in the VLS. There's just because. And yeah, now I don't want to target my primary target's really the cruise missile carrier. But the most dangerous opponent is very much the Victor 3. So I'm going to fire at him. And what I expect he's going to do is get out of dodge. Now, to better evade, I'd like to go deeper. I'd like to run deeper and try and use the terrain, and I'm at the shallower side of the map, so I don't have that advantage here. I don't particularly want to use the merchant ship as cover, but I could. But I said I'm going to go west. I'm going to try and be the good guy here, run west away from the merchants. I can deal with the merchant later if I so feel the need. Alright, all things said and done, that little blue circle dot thing tells me the anticipated, essentially where that target's going to be if I launch now. So as you switch between weapons, Sea Lance has it a lot closer. Tigerfish has it further away. So if I fired now with Sea Lance, that's the rough point I want to be placing the weapon. But I'm going to go ahead and use Tigerfish. I'm going to tell it to go... Yeah. So we're going roughly 2,000 yards, give or take, away from where he's going to be. And then, so I'm going to fire. They're both going to detect it likely and counterfire.
Shoot tube 5. Aye, sir.
And immediately turn away.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
That's launch number 1. Now, I believe he pinged me. So he knows where I am. Yeah. And he's also firing at the torpedo anyways. He's firing at the noise. Straight away, we are already...
Make turns for 10. Make turns for 15 knots. Maneuvering aye.
We're already looking forward to this. And he's turning away.
Maneuvering. Making turns for 15 knots.
So what I'm going to do is adjust my torpedo. It's not likely to reach him now.
Passing 200 feet.
It may do, but he's gone evasive, so I got to adjust my torpedo. He's actually tracking south, a bit more south, and he's most definitely accelerated.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 114.
Con helm, steady course.
Now this likely means he's not going to know where I am. That's a pretty terrible view there.
Passing 300
What
feet.
I want to do is move this thing here. So I'm going to divert this torpedo towards the Charlie 2. He's a slower boat, 24 knots, and you've got more of a chance of reaching him. And I also want to notch this incoming torpedo. In fact, I really want to get up to higher speed.
247, helm aye.
So we're going to go to flank. I'm going to lose the wire on this torpedo. It's completely fine.
Make turns for 2 knots. Maneuvering aye.
I really want to not be
Passing 400 feet.
where this torpedo
Con helm, steady course.
expects me to be. Now the wire's going to drop on the Tigerfish. That's okay. Right. I'm already losing acoustics on those incoming torpedoes. They're electric.
Con fire control, we've lost the
There
wire.
we go. So I lost the wire. Check my depth. Plenty of depth right now. I got 1,000 foot total. This is about where I want to be, but no, to be
Passing
fair,
500 feet.
let's go down to 800 feet. Maybe 700.
Make depth 700 feet. Dive aye.
Now I'm going to turn towards the incoming torpedoes, and the reason there is there's not that much distance between me and them, and he's likely to anticipate I'm going to run away, as opposed to gonna go in for his torpedoes, because who would logically do that? Well, you might do that.
Come left to 137, helm aye.
What I want to try and do is be inside or close to his torpedoes when they go.
Con helm, steady course.
All that will do is it'll mean that they're searching for me behind my location. Now, it doesn't work. It doesn't always work so
Con
good.
maneuvering, making turns for 2 knots.
But it might, and when it does, it's very satisfying. When it doesn't, I'm that close, I've still got the issue of the torpedoes firing quite many anyway. Right? It's not worked because the eastmost one has already
Con
gone live.
sonar,
Yeah.
torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 133.
Right, so I'm turning away.
Con sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 099.
They both detected me. That's about a worst case.
Con sonar, noisemaker. Bearing 115.
I think worst case would probably be the third one that you didn't hear. So I'm going to turn
Con
away.
sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 114. Contact is in the baffles.
Okay. Now notice the noisemaker over the Charlie 2. That means it's threatened by something. Likely it's detected the fact that my torpedo is fast approaching them. The options right now, well, I'm being pursued by 2 torpedoes, and I don't think I can get to the enemy submarines quickly enough with these 2 torpedoes following me. Now they're likely use at 80s. I don't recognize the shapes. I should do. Just take a look. I don't know what that is, unfortunately. But if we look at their view of me, yeah, that's not great. So,
Con knuckle form.
one thing I can try and do is use knuckles to confuse them, get myself
Con
into...
sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 1 5, 7. Contact is in the baffles.
Get myself into slightly shallower water, and then see if I can run them into the seabed. That's going to be a challenge, but seabed is gently rising. This is a big challenge here.
Con, knuckle formed.
Give him another knuckle. I would love to be in deeper water.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 1, 5, 7.
But right now, it's a bit of a challenge, unfortunately. Okay, I don't want to watch this view so much. I really want to stick to this view. It's a little more realistic, but then now both torpedoes are back on me again. So go ahead and give him another knuckle.
Con, knuckle formed.
And I'm going to turn north.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 1, 1, 7.
Zoom out here to see what's going on. Yep, so it's the Charlie 2 still dropping noisemakers. He's clearly threatened by something. I'm going to let that tigerfish do its thing.
Lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 1, 5, 5. Contact is in the baffles.
It didn't blow up, it just, I lost it. Another knuckle.
Con, knuckle formed.
And immediately straighten up again. I want to head more... In fact, let's just go ahead and try and head more north. It's actually very bad, the fact that torpedo was turning east and not turning west. It's now really close. It's 500 yards. So, we're turning hard to port.
Noisemaker, bearing 1, 2, 2.
Con, knuckle formed.
Back on starboard. Let's switch back to the view of me.
Regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 1, 5, 8.
I dropped my depth. Yeah, okay.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 1, 5, 8. Contact is in the baffles. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 1, 5, 9.
So I'm dropping my depth a little bit, get closer to the seabed.
Con sonar lost.
Con, knuckle formed.
I also may do a very rapid change in depth and heading as well to try and throw these things off.
Passing 800 feet.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 1, 2, 7. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 1, 6, 1. Contact is in the baffles.
Because they're getting awfully close, chaps.
Passing 900 feet. Con, knuckle formed.
Right, so point the nose down a little bit. Let's level off. I'm not going to be able to...
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 1, 3, 1.
Not going to be able to use depth, unfortunately, here to get away from them, I don't think. Not
Con, knuckle formed.
running them into the seabed.
Con
Right.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 1, 6, 4. Contact is in the baffles.
Right, where's this torpedo going? Okay. Mine do, to be fair.
Con, knuckle formed.
That's bad. Right.
Con, knuckle formed.
Rapid change of direction, rapid change of depth. I'm going to crank round and see if we can get on top of it. I'm not
Passing 900 feet.
going to massively change my depth just yet.
Passing 800 feet.
I really want to get on top of this thing like so, but there's another one tracking me, presumably from
Con
behind.
sonar regained contact on Sierra 2.
Con, knuckle
That's the
formed.
reason why we didn't change the depth so rapidly, because it's
Passing
still on
700
me.
feet.
In fact, it's still on me now. Let's noisemaker that. And
Con, knuckle formed.
pitch over the top. We're now going to descend, and we're going to be heading more south. Just a second. There we go. We're eventually going to be heading more south.
Passing 600 feet. Passing 700 feet.
Yeah, oh dear.
Passing 800 feet. Passing 800 feet.
Making a bit of a mess of
Con,
this.
knuckle formed.
Wowzers. Yeah, having 2 of them is, apparently 2 is not cheating, but wow.
Con, knuckle formed.
That doesn't make life a lot harder. Let's increase my depth a little. Straighten up.
Con, knuckle formed.
Rapidly change my depth. Let's get up to about 350 foot. So you see now I'm lost my situational awareness because I don't know where the other boats are. All I know is where I
Passing
am.
800 feet.
Another noisemaker. Let's switch back to this view here. So I'm heading
Passing
west.
700 feet. Passing 600 feet.
I
Con,
really
knuckle
want to
formed.
be heading east.
Passing 500 feet.
Yep, and they're on me again.
Passing 400 feet. Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed.
Con sonar regained contact.
Passing 400 feet. Con, knuckle formed. Passing 500 feet.
Oh boy.
Passing 600 feet.
At least I'm heading in roughly the right direction, but I'm still tangling with these 2 torpedoes. Okay, let's give myself a bit of breathing space, but not much. Time for a sip of coffee, don't you think? Which has gone cold because
Con, knuckle formed.
apparently submarines can't keep coffee warm. I might have spilled it
Con
with
sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 165. Contact faded.
I might have spilt it with all these hard maneuvers anyway, so
Con, knuckle formed.
it's fine. Alright, let's get back down to 900 feet, give or take.
Passing 700 feet. Passing 800 feet.
So, what I wanted to demonstrate, I really didn't.
Con, knuckle
And
formed.
that was not being in the right place of the ocean where the torpedoes think you're going to be. So I managed to nerf that.
Con, knuckle formed.
Now we've got some pretty straightforward torpedo evasion, which is never fun. But I actually want to be turning south, I think.
Con, knuckle formed.
Alright, so again, rapid change of depth.
Passing 800 feet.
And I'm going to get picked up by the northernmost
Passing
torpedo.
700 feet.
There we go. I figured that would happen. Try and knuckle this thing
Passing
away.
600 feet. Con, knuckle formed.
The knuckle is going to put me in danger
Passing
of
500 feet.
the now westmost torpedo. I don't
Passing 400
really
feet.
want to watch this, but I'm going to because
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
it could be interesting.
Passing 200 feet.
Actually want to pitch down quite aggressively and straighten up. Going to reverse the turn. Very dangerous maneuver here if I pull it off, but if I don't pull it
knuckle
off,
formed. Passing 200 feet.
did not want to be seeing that. Oh, you beauty! It
Passing
worked,
300 feet.
but wow, I
Con
did
sonar, no longer cavitating.
not want to be seeing the other submarine firing a torpedo at me. However, it's
Passing 500 feet.
some form of situational awareness, I suppose. Yeah, I have no idea where those bad
Passing
boys are.
600 feet.
Yay! I do know
Passing 700 feet.
where 2 torpedoes are following me. There's always that.
Passing 800 feet. Con, knuckle formed.
Right, this thing should turn off. There we go. Okay, so where's the second one? Okay, the second one's above me. I can try and avoid this thing by hugging the seabed, but it's more likely that it's going to drop down and detect me.
Passing 900 feet.
Yeah, there it goes.
Con, knuckle formed.
So I'll keep heading away from it as best I can, but I'm pretty certain that it's gonna pick me up. Yeah, this closer torpedo is doing its dangdest to get on my wick by turning in just the wrong direction. So put my tail towards it, rapidly knuckle it away,
Con, knuckle formed.
and let's see which way this thing turns. Come on. Yeah, thanks for that. See, now I'm in big danger. It's going to turn around and require me. I can't change my depth that quickly.
Passing 900 feet.
There it goes.
Con, knuckle formed.
Thank goodness that worked, because it's extremely close.
Passing 800 feet. Con, knuckle formed.
Now on top of it again. And the other one is right on me.
Con, knuckle formed.
So knuckled him away, great, but still. Let's get back down to 900 something feet, I think. Pointing a little bit more north.
Passing 800 feet.
Don't really want to be. Quick knuckle, the close up, or the further one, I think.
Con, knuckle formed.
Actually did
Passing
both.
900 feet.
Hey, superb. So one of them blew up. Both of them blew up. Okay. Let's see, where is this other torpedo coming at me?
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Back emergency. Maneuvering eye.
Right, let's get my speed down to 5 knots as quickly as I can, get my depth up to at least use my towed array. Okay.
Make turns for 5 knots.
So
Maneuvering
that
eye.
torpedo's heading right at me. He knows exactly where I am. Okay,
Con
that's...
sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 173.
That's bad, but I'm...
Shoot 2-2. Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 088.
wonder if we force this this Charlie
Passing
2
700 feet.
onto the surface. I suspect it's damaged. That it's like it's sitting right on the surface. So I don't know I'm going to be able to. Yeah, I really can't. I can't mess around
Make
like this
turns
because
for 3, 2 knots.
I got a torpedo
Maneuvering
coming
eye.
right at me, and my tigerfish is heading its way.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 174. Contact faded. Come left to 000. Helm aye.
But I've got no chance of my tigerfish getting within range of the Victor 3 before it can.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 134. Contact faded.
Before it's going to.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 08. Come left to 350. Helm aye.
Before it can disrupt the Victor 3. So what I'm trying to do
Con
here
helm steady course.
is get a dang word in. What I'm trying to do here is get my torpedo to threaten the Victor 3. If the Victor 3 is threatened, it's not going to mess around and continue guiding its own weapon. It's going to duck and dive out of the way. So, two things I want to do here. One is I want to get a bit of distance between myself and the Charlie 2. That's number one. And the second thing is I want to try and disrupt this Victor 3. Now, I don't know where he is. I don't know how far away he is. So I'm taking a guess he's at least 5,000 yards. I'm moving away as best I can. As fast as I can, I should probably say. I'm heading into shallow water. I don't have a choice, really. And this USET 80 or Test 71 will be right on my...
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 3, 2 knots.
will be right on me. There it is. YouTube might remove that, but it's right on me. So, I'm going to try a few maneuvers. If I can keep some distance between myself and the torpedo and maneuver around, we'll see it changing its course. And to be fair, see this in real life. I'm going to go ahead and run a little bit west. Because if the wire gets broken on the torpedo between the Victor 2 and it, Victor 3 even, and it's not going to be able to guide itself anymore. So, yeah, we're not really making a very good effort of this. We've managed to mess it up, and there you go. See what weapons we've got left. So we've got a total of 3 tigerfish left, 2 to be loaded. One in the tubes, I guess, for the sake of it. We may as well load another one of those up. Got a harpoon prepared, and I've got a...
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 165.
Okay, this thing has detected me, but it's turning away, so I'm going to put my tail to it as best I can. If I can get out of detection range, it's going to lose me. Now, I don't...
Con, sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 167. Contact is in the baffles.
I don't know which torpedo this is, so let's go look at my recognition stuff. Victor 3. It was a use at 80, what is it, 3,000 yard? Yeah, 3,000 yard seeker range, and I'm guessing it's one of those because we're about 3,000 yards.
torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
And it's picked me up again.
Con, knuckle formed.
Now, test 71 is only 800. Okay, yeah, it's a use at 80. And it's on me. Okay, well, that's disappointing, but... I mean, I'm going to try a change of course, and a change of depth, but I'm pretty certain it's going to...
Con, sonar, regained contact on. Sierra 1, bearing 138.
Pretty certain.
Passing 700 feet.
Pretty certain it's got me.
Passing 800 feet.
Yeah, its depth is changing to match. So 3,000 yards is its detection range, and I am just inside that. So it went active, not beyond 3,000 yards. It went active pretty much at maybe the 2,000 yard point.
Con, sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing.
Passing 900 feet.
So I'm going to hug the seabed. Very dangerous maneuver here. Seabed is not smooth. Hugging it at this sort of speed is pretty much an instant death. Brush it. But it's the same for this torpedo. If it manages to hit
Con, less than 50 feet below the keel.
the seabed, which I don't think it will, but if it were to, it's also dead. It blows up, and that's very good for me. Right, so about 15 feet between myself and the seabed, and it's not really helping. Let's see, is it still flat? Let's see it. I guess we'll knuckle here.
Con, knuckle formed.
Imagine all sorts of...
Con, sonar, lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 144. Contact is in the baffles.
Imagine all sorts of...
Con, sonar, regained contact on. Sierra 2, bearing 163.
all sorts of junk being blown up by my my propulsion system, but that's not modeled in the game.
Con, knuckle formed.
The knuckle. I can get the far side of it. If I can get the deeper side of it.
Con, sonar, regained contact on. Sierra 2, bearing 162.
That's a big if, because that's going to be a big challenge.
Con, knuckle formed.
It's possible to do it, but you got to be a little lucky. I don't really fancy my chances of not running into the seabed at this depth either. I think there's a very real chance
Con, knuckle formed.
of a nasty collision. In fact, yeah, look at this. Okay, let's do a very rapid depth change.
Con, knuckle formed.
I'm going to essentially head
Come left to 099 helm I.
more or less east. I really want to get above it. I'll
Passing 800
drop
feet.
a noisemaker and see if that confuses it. It didn't.
Passing
So
700 feet.
I'll do this the old-fashioned way.
Passing 600 feet.
Alright, so it's straightening up on autopilot.
Passing 500 feet.
Con, helm, steady course.
Passing 400 feet.
Con, sonar, we are cavitating.
Right, let's do that.
Passing 200 feet.
Get this thing close. Oh, I misjudged it slightly. I want to be about 100, 50 to 100 foot, and I wasn't quite there, but never mind. Close enough, I
Passing
think.
100 feet.
What we don't want to do is break the surface, because we lose a bit of speed doing that, but okay. So it's coming up to meet me. We think it is, but we're going to get a bit of distance between myself and it. In fact, I wonder how much distance we can get. 1,000 yards so far. It's going to easily detect me. Very, very easily detect me. There we go. It's just done it already. But at least we're now the deep side of it, which is good. And I'm excited to be the deeper side of the equation here. It increases my chances of being able to use depth as a weapon against this torpedo. However, running at 32 knots just under the surface is not exactly stealthy, but I think the enemy knows where I am anyway. And I'm in a great position to harpoon this...
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 1, bearing 141.
this hopefully stricken Charlie 2.
Con, knuckle formed.
And his crew has had time to get off the boat.
Make depth 4, 5 feet, dive I.
So for what it's worth, we've got a periscope depth. Then when this torpedo's blown up behind me, I can drop my speed, pop my sensors, and give him something to think about.
Con, dive at 4, 5 feet, dive I.
Now, the Victor 3 has not yet used any standoff weapons. And that is interesting because, well, he hasn't needed to, for one. But his standoff weapons are a great ways of boxing me in and making it such that I don't know where to go.
Con, knuckle formed.
So, that is it's a weapon he's got in his pocket. To be fair, that Charlie 2 has as well. I've got them too. Sea Lance is quite effective at boxing submarines, except they don't tend to
Con, knuckle formed.
respond as though it's a weapon. Why is this thing not being knuckled away from me? That's not good.
Con, knuckle formed.
It doesn't seem to care about my knuckles. We don't like that. Am I too far away from it?
Con, knuckle formed.
Or is it still wire-guided? If it's still wire-guided, I'm in big trouble. Knuckles were working low, at greater depth, though.
Con, knuckle formed.
Oh, it thought about losing me there, but it didn't.
Con, knuckle formed.
Alright, this thing is right on me. One last knuckle, but we're also going to drop the depth, or increase the depth.
Con, knuckle formed.
Yep, that didn't work. Look at this. This thing is still on me. Noise
Passing
maker it.
100 feet.
Turning hard.
Passing 200 feet. Con, knuckle formed. Passing 300 feet.
Con sonar no longer cavitating.
Still hitting the deck, but I'm dropping at a very rapid rate.
Passing 500 feet.
I'm going to
Passing 600 feet.
use this to hopefully get some distance away from it as well,
Passing 700 feet.
which is good. Still. So that rapid change of depth.
Passing 800 feet.
The torpedo has a sensor cone in its nose, and if you drop outside of that range, it can't detect you. Now it's 20 to 30 to 45 degrees, so it can look up and look down that much. And if it's close to you, you're in that shadow. As I move away, of course, that shadow
Passing 900 feet.
moving out of that shadow, and I don't believe you can use the terrain to mask yourself. No. So it's now detecting me. It's coming down to my depth, which is fair enough. And then once it's at my depth, it will continue chasing me. This is interesting, Hayes. It's turning away, and this is why it's It's 1,500 yards away. If this torpedo had a 1,000-yard sensor range, detection range, I could escape it at this point. Hey, it blew up.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
Okay, let's run ultra quiet. Let's pitch up towards the
Con
surface.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 1.
Passing 900 feet.
What I'm going to try and do is, I think I'm going to, I don't think I can
Passing
effectively
800 feet.
send the Victor to
Passing 700 feet.
a Tigerfish, not at 27,000 yards. What I can do, though, is give him a Sea Lance or two, possibly
Passing
3.
600 feet.
So I've got plenty of them, so I'm going to give him at least one of those. The Charlie 2, if he is indeed on the surface, he's getting a harpoon.
Passing 500 feet.
Okay, now there may be another torpedo coming my way. It wouldn't surprise me if there was, but so far we
Passing
haven't
400 feet.
detected anything.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 1. Bearing 137.
This is actually
Passing 300 feet.
where the standoff weapons are fantastic, because what they allow you to do is, so a standoff weapon against a submarine,
4, 5 feet, dive high.
it's a bit like using a harpoon, except
torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
submarines in this game don't have counter torpedo weapon systems, so they don't have an intercept torpedo that can take out your incoming torpedo, which is great. And instead, you drop a torpedo or two on its head as best you can. Now I want to turn away a little bit. I'm going to turn towards S3.
Come left to 059.
'Cause as far as I'm concerned, he's a target too. Yeah, let's get my whoops. Let's get my sensors
Let's
up.
go.
Okay, so Charlie 2.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
He's not moving. Look at that. I'm actually pretty close to him. Let's take a look at him. Is he in a bad way? Yeah, I think he is. Oh yeah. He's a mess. Listing. He's. That's not a comfortable ride. I want a bit more distance, I think, but before being able to fire at him, because that's. Oh no, I can do it. 8,000 yard minimum range, so let's give him one of those.
Shoot tube 4. Aye, sir.
And because I now know where the Victor 3 is, I'm going to give him a couple of these. So see how it wants me to give the Sea Lance all the way over here? That's a long way away. I'm going to do one a little closer.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
I'm going to do another one a little closer to him, so it might come up behind him.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Let's go ahead and reload those. Yeah, I'm out of Sea Lance. Okay. And let's watch my weapons. Sea Lance, harpoon, and here's the base target.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 1. Last bearing 138. Contact breaking up.
Well, his crew would have gotten off that boat, so that is good news. And this guy, he's about to encounter a couple of Sea
Con,
Lance.
dive at 4, 5 feet, dive high.
Con, helm, steady course.
You're welcome. And seeing as we're here, this merchant is clearly carrying resupplies. I mean, he looks dodgy. Look at that. He's like half submarine already. So he needs one of these.
Shoot tube 4. Aye, sir.
And I'll reload that in case my Sea Lance. Got a torpedo heading my way. No, that's a Tigerfish, I think. Anyway, so that's my airdrop torpedo.
Con, torpedo room,
That's his
tube
stance.
1 ready.
Okay, so let's take another look, see where they are. Yep, look at that. So they have both detected the Victor 2, and he is actually taking evasive action. He often doesn't. They don't always take evasive action. I guess he's identified a threat.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 3. Last bearing 055.
There goes the merchant.
Contact breaking up.
So he's only doing 20 knots though. I wonder if he's just turned around because I just destroyed his buddies. I guess, because that was not really evasive action. That was more like a Han Solo.
Torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
Gentle left turn. And he's put his tail to the other torpedo. Is he increasing his depth, maybe? There's a pretty big hole in his butt. You'd think he'd notice that. Well, I have another 2 sea lance if this isn't effective, and I could very easily give him a tigerfish to the nose. I still have a few of those left, at least. For what it's worth,
Downscope.
getting it down to 150 feet.
Con, torpedo room. Make depth 150 feet, dive I.
Now, he's either heading to the surface because he needs to, or because he wants to fire a standoff weapon at me, maybe. It looks like he's sinking a little bit, though. He can't detect me. Not at that speed. I wonder if he is making evasive action against this approaching torpedo coming up his 6. So now he's diving again. Excuse me. No turn though. I don't know what he's doing. He's snuck below the torpedo. That's very clever. So he's bought himself some time. He's now at flank speed. This torpedo's going to have to circle round and attack again.
Con, dive at 150 feet, dive
Who
I.
knew a subtle change of depth like that could actually throw off a torpedo, but he's going to put a bit of range between himself and the torpedo, and of course he's approaching me at high speed. Switch back to the map. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's actually tempting to give him a tigerfish that he's just going to walk into, or another sea lance. I'm going to maintain what I'm doing right now, because he doesn't know where I am. Can't detect me, I don't think, but he's still heading my way, and there's another depth change. Look at that. That's very interesting. I've not tried this myself, but maybe it'll work. You know, the Han Solo depth change maneuver. No, I don't think it's worked this time. Nope. Alright, and he's blown his ballast. So, one or two things are going to happen. He's either going to sink to the depths and potentially implode, or he's going to get a harpoon to the face. Be another sea lance. Right now, I'd say he's coming up to the surface. He's not sure whether he's actually going to bob on the surface or just get his nose up. He's pitching hard. He's still doing flank speed, though. I feel like preemptively getting a harpoon, heading it in his direction. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll try it. Check his depth. We'll try it. I mean, what's the worst that happens?
Shoot tube 4. Aye, sir.
Right, so let's see. Now, most definitely on the surface. That's a pretty juicy target for a harpoon, I'm sure of it. That's less so. Harpoon seems so slow.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
I think we see him. Yep, we do.
Con, Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 159. Contact breaking up.
Right, that's what happens to you when you mess with the wrong Captain Numpty, or Captain Numpty when his coffee's gone cold. Hope you got something from that. A lot of me dicking around evading torpedoes, not much of me not being in the right place at the wrong time, wrong place at the right time, however you wish to define it. But we got there in the end. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you the next time. Take care everyone, thank you.